Welcome to Governor Kelly Armstrong to the podium. Thank you for being here, Governor.
Thank you, Chairman Beckett, members of the Appropriations Committee. I think unless you've been living under a rock, under another rock, under another rock, you've probably heard me speak on this bill and property taxes quite often. It's been a really fun process to be a part of. It was fun to campaign. It was fun to listen to people and their frustrations. It's been fun to work with people on both sides of the Capitol, and it's been fun to put a collaborative process together. I think we should recognize that 1176, as passed, as clean, will give us something to work off of and not work towards. I've been a part of these bodies a lot. So when I was in the North Dakota Senate, I think 85% of the time the oil and gas companies liked me because I'd grown up in the business. I understood the issues. I didn't understand every single issue, but I could get up to speed quicker. It was the 15% of the time when they were trying to game the system or trying to mess around with something that they should have known better and I knew better that they didn't like me. I think that happened in DC a lot, working with public defenders and criminal defense attorneys. You know, I spent my time doing that stuff. And so 85% of the time you could get along, you could work with them, and you can do all of that. It was the 15% of the time that they were doing something that, I structurally and fundamentally disagreed with. 85% of the time, you're all going to like that I served in the North Dakota Senate. You're going to like the fact that I was a legislator, because I know how hard your job is and I know how difficult it is. But let's not kid ourselves. This might not be a policy hearing, but you're going to get policy amendments. And that's exactly what's going to happen next. And that is fine. I've been here. I've seen it happen before. I've seen it happen usually happen more often in House approps when I was here than Senate approps, but we've been dealing with it. And I think it's unfortunate. And I think it's unfortunate for this particular reason, because we have work to do on this, and we have work to get this process right. We have work to do in order to deliver what we have all said we were going to do. And I personally don't believe we can do that if we're fighting about amendments that have really no chance of ever making it into the bill. If we're still fighting about issues and dealing with things, I think we owe it to the citizens of North Dakota to work as hard as we can to put the best package together and do it early enough so we have time throughout the course of the rest of this legislative session to put the package right. We know there's going to be technical corrections. We know that. We've known that since it started. But it's really hard to get into the nuts and bolts when you're still fighting about how high the cap is, where it's mills, whether it's a credit, where it's at. And I can tell you unequivocally that regarding property tax relief, I don't know if this is true for everybody in North Dakota, but I would be hard pressed to find somebody who spent more time in more communities talking to more North Dakota voters since last January when I announced that I was running for governor until now. People want property tax relief. They want reform. They want it on their primary residences. We've worked very closely with many different members of the North Dakota legislature to get us to this point. It would be a shame if it got stuck in the mud now. And with that, I'll yield back.
Questions for Governor Armstrong? Senator Early.
Thank you, Chairman and Governor. Good to see you.
You too, sir.
You talked about a package. I'm just hearing primary property tax relief. There's more than primary property resident taxpayers in the state of North Dakota. What's your vision for the future going forward? I know this is a first step.
Well, I think
but there's got to be other steps.
Do you want my personal? I will just tell you, because
I
think we can have a lot of those conversations. I'll just be honest with you, because I think I always am. I have a really hard time diverting legacy fund dollars to out-of-state property owners and out-of-state businesses centrally assessed. Like, I think we can have these conversations. We can talk about it, but acutely and definitively, everybody lives somewhere. They either own a house or they rent. Now, I think we would all agree doing rental relief and property tax is really difficult, because we don't transfer that relief to tenants very often. In fact, the only way I know that you can guarantee it happens is rent control. And I don't think a North Dakota legislature nor a North Dakota governor is particularly interested in that. I think the first step is to do this. I think you can have lots of conversations about how you deliver relief in other ways. But if you're asking me personally, I think anything using legacy fund earnings to go specifically to out-of-state landowners and out-of-state businesses is going to be a tough sell with the North Dakota people.
Further questions for Governor Armstrong? Well, I want to thank you for your leadership and thank you for working with us on this bill all the way along.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that, Governor. And feel free to stay and provide more input as we go. Next, we have Majority Leader Hoag from the Senate.